Warning: use only the specified Nuvair lubricants in this system. The use of incompatible lubricants presents a risk of fire and/or explosion. Be sure to vent all pressure from the system prior to opening any filtration canister. Your Nuvair compressor system must be maintained on a regular basis to perform reliably for you and your customers. You must keep a record of all maintenance you perform on your system. Prior to operating your system each day, check the lubricant levels of both the high pressure and low pressure compressors. Add lubricant if necessary. Operate both the low pressure and high pressure purge buttons to verify that the automatic condensate drain valves are working correctly. Next, open each high pressure and low pressure manual condensate drain valve slightly to ensure that no condensate is present. Check the low pressure air filter for condensate and proper operation of the condensate drains. Change the low pressure compressor lubricant initially after 25 hours of operation and then after every 100 hours of system operation. Never mix compressor lubricants. Use only Nuvair approved lubricants. It's always best to change the oil after the system has been run so the oil is warm. Wait at least 45 minutes after operating the system so the oil is not hot to avoid burning yourself. Warning: never drain the oil when the system is still hot. You could seriously burn yourself if hot oil spills on your skin. Always disconnect the power before you work on the compressor and post a warning sign not to turn the power on. Open the high and low pressure drains on the compressor. To change the low pressure compressor lubricant, remove the lubricant fill plug. Place a drain under the low pressure drain plug, remove the plug, and open the drain. Once the oil has completely drained out, close the drain plug firmly but do not over-tighten. Fill the compressor with low pressure lubricant until the site level gauge shows the right level. Dispose of used oil properly. Change the high pressure compressor lubricant after every 100 hours of system operation or annually, whichever occurs first. Never mix compressor lubricants. Use only lubricants approved for use with nitrox such as Nuvair 455. To change the high pressure compressor lubricant, remove the lubricant fill plug. Place a drain under the high pressure drain plug, remove the plug, and open the drain. You'll need 1.5 liters of oil to refill the high pressure compressor lubricant oil system. Once the oil has completely drained out, close the drain plug firmly but do not over-tighten. Fill the compressor with high pressure lubricant until the site level gauge shows the right level. Dispose of used oil properly. There are 4 low pressure filters that house filter elements. Starting on the left, there is the filter with the 4338 element which removes particles from the air. Next is the 4344 which removes water and oil vapor. Third from the left is the 4341, which is a carbon filter that removes oil vapor. The last low pressure filter on the right, element 4344, removes carbon. If you use an auxiliary dryer, you may only need to change filter elements every 250 hours. Without a dryer, low pressure filter elements should be changed every 50 hours. Each week, you should inspect each low pressure filter bowl for the presence of moisture. Since you've already turned off the power and opened the drain valves, there should be no pressure on the low pressure feed air pressure gauge. Also, inspect each low pressure filter element for unusual degradation or wetness. Replace the filter elements if they need to be replaced. The use of grade D or better air is critical to prevent passing any residual oil vapor into the membrane system. Producing grade D air is done in 4 stages. These include particle removal to 1 micron, coalescing and water and oil removal to 0.01 micron, oil vapor removal to 0.003 parts per million, and final stage carbon particle removal and coalescing. Change the low pressure filter elements every 100 hours in order to maintain Compressed Gas Association Grade D air standards. If your system is operated in an environment with high humidity or high temperature, the filter elements must be changed more often. A high level of moisture in the carbon and final coalescing filters indicates improper operation. Evidence of moisture in the F74V filter indicates that the air is not cooling properly and moisture is not being properly removed. Excess moisture prevents the carbon filter from operating correctly. The filters must be installed in the proper order or damage to your system may occur. In order to ensure the correct filter element is installed in the correct filter, you should always remove and install one filter at a time. If you accidentally install the filters in the wrong canisters, you can damage your system. You will need to change the high-pressure compressor filtration element every 13,000 cubic feet of air or nitrox processing, or after filling approximately 160 80 cubic foot Scuba cylinders to maintain Compressed Gas Association E standards. If your system is operated in a location with high humidity or high temperatures, your filter may need to be changed more frequently. There is a single high-pressure filter for the high-pressure compressor. This system uses a single filter element. Do not use any aftermarket substitute, or you may damage your system. To check or change the high-pressure filter, be sure the system is shut down and then open the 3 manual condensate valves to drain pressure. Leave the valves open. Unscrew the filter canister cap. Remove the used filter from the canister and unscrew it from the canister cap. Dispose of the used filter properly. Inspect the O-rings that seal the high-pressure cap. Make sure they are in good condition. Replace them if they show any signs of wear. Lubricate the O-rings with a thin film of food-grade silicone grease. Install the new filter and reinstall the canister cap. Close the manual condensate valves and your system is now ready for operation again. Every 500 hours, the valves in the second and third stage of the high-pressure compressor should be inspected by a technician and serviced if needed. Every 1,000 hours, the valves in the first stage should be inspected by a technician and serviced if necessary. The belts on the Voyager should be checked every year to be sure they are in good condition. Prior to inspecting the belts, it is essential to lock out and tag out all electrical power to the system. Drain the pressure from the machine through the manual drains. Remove the cover from the left side of the unit. You can reach under the protective shroud to feel the belt for the high-pressure compressor. To see the belt, you'll need to remove the protective shroud that covers it. You will need a number 5 metric key to remove the 4 bolts that secure the shroud. Visually inspect the belt for signs of wear. Push the belt with 5 kilograms or 11 pounds of force to check that it has the correct tension. There should not be more than 5 millimeters or 1/4 inch of play in the belt. If the belt exceeds this amount of play, it should be adjusted by a technician. If the belt needs adjustment or replacement, loosen the bolts that secure the motor and remove the belt. Slide the compressor forward a few millimeters and tighten the bolts down to 33 foot-pounds of torque. Replace the belt, turning the pulley by hand. Ensure that the belt is back in the proper grooves. Reinstall the shroud. Tighten the bolts that secure the shroud. Replace the cover on the left side of the unit. Proper maintenance of your Nuvair system will help ensure its reliability and life.